Good morning. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas morning 2019, and welcome to another Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. We have Bellows Blended Whiskey, American Blended Whiskey, 80-20 blend ratio, aged at least 4 years. This whiskey is blended for maximum smoothness, they claim. Bottled in St. Louis, Missouri by Luxco. It says Bellows and Company, but that's just a assumed name like they do all the time. It's owned by Luxco. But the company Bellows was established in 1830, and it was an independent company for many years, but no longer. Okay, so that's that from Missouri. Here we have Clubhouse, bottled in Kentucky by Heaven Hill. No age statement, no blend ratio statement. All it tells us is it's bottled by Kentucky Standard Distillers. Ha ha ha. Blended whiskey with natural flavors and caramel color. At least they're telling you that. Strange, they don't give a blend ratio. So what is it? 75-25, 80-20? I don't know. They're both 80 proof, so that's your minimum. All whiskey has to be at least 80 proof. All right. That's the law. Ruku says, Merry Christmas, Ron. Merry Christmas. Happy Christmas to you, Ruku. Now, are you ready for this? I don't have tags on these glasses, and you want to know why? I'll tell you why I don't have tags on these little Diamore. I heard the bells. Now, because these are so different one from another, you'll never get them confused. I won't, you won't, we won't, they won't. Love to you and your family. Same back to you. Okay. Same back to you, man. I will never confuse these two. So it's a blind taste test in name only. When you have something like this so different one from the other, you don't need to do a blind taste test. It'd be like comparing orange juice to tomato juice. There's no purpose in mixing it up. You're never going to mix it up. You just simply say, well, I like this or I don't like that, and give the merits or demerits of both. The blind taste test is important when you have similar products like Pepsi and Coke, or RC, Royal Crown Cola and Coke, something like that. Then it would make sense. You don't want bias to play it. That's why you have blind taste tests, to eliminate bias. And you might say, I'm not biased, I'm not biased. But you can be unintentionally biased. You can be influenced without being aware of it. You say, oh boy, now we got Sigmund Freud talking, huh? Right. Okay. Caramel color. Does Bellows have caramel color? Well, it might. This is more of a honey appearance, though. You notice that? Honey, caramel. Honey, caramel. Are they allowed to add? Looks similar, yes. Are they? But the Bellows is, the Clubhouse is a little darker. Now, price. The Bellows was $8.99 at International Market, and it's all gone. I mean, they sold all the bottles of Bellows Club whiskey, and they sold all the bottles of Bellows. When they price stuff like that, it doesn't stay on the shelf. It's gone. Gone. You know it's not going to last. People are going to buy. Then last time I went, they still had some of that Highland Mist blended Scotch for $6.49. But I bet if I go back again next week or whatever, it's not going to be there. They do deep discounts like Savannah Discount or Discount Depot. You think I'm going to go back to Savannah Discount Depot and see the Jim Beam? Oh, I'm sorry, the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond for $12.99. $12.99 for Bottled and Bond, bonded whiskey, straight whiskey too. You think I'm going to see that? I'm not going to see that. I just didn't want to spend any more money last time, and I have enough bourbon to last me the next 2 years. So, but that's what I'm saying. Those kind of prices, it's gone. Now, the Clubhouse was $6.99 at Discount Depot, $6.99 for a liter. We're talking about liter bottles, 1,000 milliliters, not the normal 750. Joe Biden's dentures. Merry Christmas. Your suggestion of Tito's vodka as a gift was very well received. Thanks. Oh, you're welcome. Glad they liked it. All right. So on with the show. My daughter came over yesterday. We went to mass together. At 4:00. And then she went to do something else. But then that was it. The event was over by the time she got there. And I told her, I said, I told you it was going to be over, but I didn't think it was going to be over that fast. And then she said, let's do a review. So we did a beer review, a Beta Christmas beer. Then we did the Trader Joe's Vintage Ale, Spiced Ale from 2019. She loved that. We both gave it an A+ for $5.99 a bottle. Corked Cage, corked. When that thing popped, looked like somebody shot a cannon and it had smoke coming out of it. And then we reviewed McCormick's Irish Cream, which she liked. She said it should have been cold. We had it at room temperature. I said, well, yeah. But it was a winner, also a winner. So I don't know if we're going to do any more today. We might. We'll see. I doubt it, but it could happen. We got Wild Card Wednesday tonight. 7:20 or 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. Be 6:30 Central Time. And people sometimes ask me, what are you going to review on Wild Card Wednesday? I said, well, we're going to review whatever people want to bring. That's a wild card. You can bring what you want. Any kind of beer, light beer, dark beer, heavy beer, middle body beer. You know what I'm saying? Mass produce, craft, nano brewery. It doesn't matter. I'm thinking myself, what am I going to bring? That's a good question. Oh, I know. I got it. This smells very woody. Well, not very woody. It smells somewhat woody. See, I'm still not fully awake. I thought I was. All right. It's sweet. Think about corn, like corn grits. I had some grits this morning with andouille sausage. Yeah, good. But think along the lines of grits, corn, yellow corn grits. Polenta. That's what polenta is, yellow corn grits. This lady from, where was she from? Croatia. She came in a store one time and she was saying, I'm looking for polenta. And I said, what do you buy that for? She said, I feed it to my baby. She's probably about 23 years old. Nice looking too. Probably had a good looking baby. You know what I mean? People tend to perpetuate like this person's handsome, that person's handsome, and the babies, and then the baby's baby and the baby's baby. And then you got on the other extreme, the unattractive. But you say, well, what does that have to do with whiskey? Nothing. Okay. But I just thought it was funny that she bought polenta to make baby food with. Baby food. Well, that's probably why she looked big bone, like, I'm strong. I'm from Eastern Europe. I break you. Okay. Because they're eating polenta. All right. This thing is so weird. It smells like plum wine and cocktail sherry. Now, at first, the first week, I thought it smelled like nothing good. I was so put off by it. I was like, oh, I can't smell it. But then I got used to it. Now I like it. Isn't that strange? Whiskey is strange when you're a stranger. Okay, so now I let my daughter smell it last night. And she's like, it smells like she said butterscotch. I said, butterscotch, golly. Well, yeah, but they don't smell alike. They smell like, no, they don't. This smells like actual whiskey. That smells like some aberration, but not bad. It's just too exotic and strange. So if somebody wanted some whiskey that would be the expected aroma, it would be this. Now you see that could get them in trouble with the guidelines, because if you read the guidelines for blended whiskey, it says must have the aroma and taste generally associated with whiskey. So it has to have the aroma and the flavor generally associated with whiskey. Now, I don't know how that would work. Like, what would somebody do? File a complaint with the United States Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, and they have a hearing, and then the administrative judge sits there and tastes them. Oh, yeah, it doesn't taste like whiskey. Judgment for the plaintiff. You have to pay them. But it's not a suggestion. It is actually a law. I can prove that. It says it must taste and smell like whiskey. Canadian law says that too. Canadian whiskey must have the aroma and flavor generally associated with Canadian whiskey. Strange, huh? All right, this tastes kind of grain alcohol. You know what I'm saying? Grain alcohol. You take corn, you make it into grits. You do the whiskey process. You know what I'm saying? You distill it, but you make it clear, odorless, colorless. That's what all whiskey starts with. The base, the neutral grain spirit. No odor, no flavor, just bulk, 190 proof grain distillate. Sounds yummy, huh? No, wrong, it isn't. You can buy it at Walmart. It's called Everclear. Don't dare drink it. You will go blind. Maybe not the first time, but you will. Very dangerous product. They distill it, they dilute it with water down to 80 proof. Then they can start making stuff with it. Vodka, gin, or in this case, they blend it with aged whiskey, aged at least 4 years. Now, can you take the grain neutral spirits, put it in a new charred oak barrel, age it for 2 years, and then have straight bourbon? Yes, you can, because as long as that grain alcohol is at least 51% corn, you got it. Well, it's probably 100% corn. Can it be 100% corn? Sure can. May not be a very good bourbon, but it will be legally a bourbon. No. But the grain neutral spirits means it's unaged. They're storing it in a wood vessel. No, it has to be stored in wood. But it might only be stored for, a week. If it aged in an old wooden barrel for a year, would it start to have any flavor? It might. But anyway, enough of that. But that's what that is. That's what that means. And Canadian blended whiskey is the same thing. And Irish whiskey is the same thing. And blended Scotch whiskey is the same thing. And Japanese, but they use different terminologies. In Japan, they mostly use rice as their grain neutral spirit, their grain whiskey. Rice. Yeah, you can use any grain. Get it? Grain. Grain alcohol. Now, rubbing alcohol, like I had that thing on my eye and I put that on there, it cleared it up. That's made from wood. That will definitely kill you. And if it doesn't kill you, you'll never see anything again. Very bad. Very, very bad. You hear about these people in Africa, in India, all dying at a party because some uncle made booze for them. Don't drink stuff like that, people. If you don't know where it's coming from, don't touch it. You go to Walmart, you buy your liquor, you know it's okay, all right? It may be low grade, like Dobra vodka, the cheap stuff, but it's still going to be safe, you know what I'm saying? Or Taka vodka. Well, actually, Taka's not the cheapest, but like Crown Rust vodka. Cheap, but not dangerous. Go to India. I wouldn't buy liquor from India. I'm sorry. It's too much flim flam. You read too many stories about stuff. So it's like, I don't need that. You know, there's enough made here or in Japan, these countries where the ethics are questionable. You say, oh, here we go. No, it's not me. All right. You know, read the paper. I didn't write the story. I didn't make the news. That was made there. You hear about this in Uganda, Tanzania, these people dying. Good morning, Ron, and Merry Christmas. Same to you, Maxwell, in the Russian Federation. So which one of these is better? I mean, I can tell you which is which. Whether I mixed them up or didn't mix them up. You're never going to mix them up. Hey, look. If you want some whiskey that tastes really weird, it does have rye, though. This one has a lot of rye. That might be why it is a rye, A-W-R-Y, a rye. It's so strange. They probably got cocktail sherry or blending sherry or something. They probably got plum wine or some other kind of aberrant wine. And rye. It's just a weird mix. I mean, I don't know what Heaven Hill's trying to do over here with this stuff. I mean, come on, Heaven Hill, get it together. Who drinks this? You say you. Yeah, I'm trying it. I'm doing it as a tasting. I wouldn't buy it, like to actually drink. There's only one blended whiskey I would actually buy to have and enjoy on its own merits instead of doing these taste challenges and reviews, and that's Seagram 7 Crown. Simple as that. That's smooth, good, high quality, and enjoyable. It's won awards. I see why. It deserves it. Yeah, it's a blended whiskey. That's a style, okay? I find it so comical when people attack a style like, oh, well, like those flavored malt beverages, like flavored malt liquor, like the watermelon Rita. They'll say, oh, that's terrible, you know. I say, what do you mean it's terrible? Well, I hate that kind of stuff. Now, listen, I hate that kind of stuff. Okay, so don't drink it. It's a style of product, okay? It's called flavored malt beverage, flavored beer, flavored ale, you know. But in the style, I gave that watermelon Rita an A. In the style, is it a great world-class beer? Even the company would tell you that. No, it's not made to be like taken seriously. Look at the Rita's website. Does it look serious? No. And if you're real uptight and like very formal, and I watch beer reviews from people who's very formal, now I'm going to review the beer, and they go through this protocol and they're very serious and there's no laugh. Beer is not something to enjoy. It's something to, you know, very strict. Right. This is. That's fine. I watch them. They do a good job, but they wouldn't probably ever review something like that. And if they do, I've seen these guys, if they ever do review something like a watermelon Rita, it's going to be a slam video. You know, it's not going to be a true review. I've seen it over the years. Like, now, today, I'm going to review this trash beer. It's like, why are you reviewing it? And I'll tell them, that's not a review. That's a slam. Boy, they get mad, you know. But it's the truth. I don't even like that style flavored beer, malt beverage. I mean, you know, really, I don't like it. I drank a flavored beer last night, the Trader Joe's, you know, spice it. But you see what I'm saying? So you got to kind of be a little more laid back if you're going to review those type of things. Can't take it too seriously. But for me, I can do it because it's not my religion. You know, beer is not, or alcohol is not my religion, but some people, it's obviously their religion. You know, it's very serious like this. How dare you insult my God? You know, my idol. Their idol is, you say, well, they used to worship idols in the ancient days, like Moloch and all of that, and Baal. Well, some people worship idols today. They might worship their cell phone, their smartphone. They're devoted to it, right? It's the first thing they do in the morning, and it's the last thing they do at night. But some people's idol is if you said, what's your idol? And they would have an altar and it would be a liquor bottle or a beer can or a beer bottle. And to me, that's not a good thing. You say you preach and you're preaching now, do the review. I know I am, but I do that on these morning things because not a whole lot of people watch anyway. All right. Well, yeah, you can pick up the grain alcohol in this too, though. I know in theory it's grain neutral spirit, right? Odorless, colorless, tasteless. Same thing with the Scotch whiskey. You know, they'll say we use grain whiskey, you know, like 80%, and it's not supposed to have any flavor or aroma in theory, but it does kind of, you know, kind of have it. You can kind of pick that up in the undertaste. And if it's really harsh, it'll be kind of grain, like that Highland Mist. It's just, you can't get away from it. It's too grain oriented. It's just too. It's like cereal grain. You know, like you eat a bowl of cereal and you have no sugar in it. You know how those old people try to make you eat cereal with no sugar in it? They're like, you need to eat this cereal. You don't need to eat all that sugar stuff. And then, but it tastes bad, you know, because it's got no. And then a child's crying. You know, they want to stay with them. You go and stay with your mama because we going somewhere. And then you're like, oh Lord, you know, because the grandma is gonna say, you don't need all that sugar, and they make them eat some old person cereal with no flavor, and the child's crying. You know what I'm talking about. And they go out to, we're going out to eat, and they take the child to Pizza Hut and they make them drink water. You know what I'm talking about? Like old people do that, you know. So you can kind of pick up that grain, and you pick that up with these, and not so cheap ones either, because I'm gonna tell you right now, when I did the Chivas Regal, I was picking up a lot of grain whiskey, and I wasn't too impressed with that. I was like, man, I paid $30-some, $35 for this, and I'm picking up all this grain. I mean, I could do that for $5.99 or $6.99. Now with these, okay, yeah, I'm picking up grain, cereal grain, no big deal, no big deal. I paid $6.99 a liter and $8.99 a liter, no big deal. They're not that great, but then whoever thought they were going to be that great? No one. Like no one goes to a liquor store and buys a liter of whiskey for $6.99 and thinks it's going to be great. Now, can you stumble across some really good ones? Yes. For instance, the Bellows Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, that was a jewel in the rough. $5.99 for a liter. $5.99 for a liter. And that tastes actually very good. And it can go toe-to-toe with your Jim Beams, your Jack Daniels, Evan Williams. And those are much more expensive. And they're not even expensive. So you can find very inexpensive liquors that will taste very good, but it's rare. It's rare. It's hard to do. What you're mostly going to find is stuff like this that's just ordinary or like off some kind of way, you know, like, okay, so final evaluation. The Bellows is fine, but that's about all it is. It's like fine. It's like tolerable. It's serviceable, if you want to say that, serviceable. Now, in the world of American blended whiskey, yeah, it's a winner, I guess, but what are you winning? You know what I'm saying? Like you haven't won anything. So it's all right. I wouldn't recommend it. And I don't know why but I guess if people do mixed drinks, like a lot of people do cocktails and all of that, and they don't have a lot of like demand, they're not demanding. And when I say cocktails, I don't mean like you're making an old fashioned. I mean, you're buying this and you're mixing it with Sprite. That's the cocktail I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You took you say, don't even say that. You took a bottle, an empty water bottle or something, a Sprite bottle, and you put, you know, some of this and then some Sprite, and you acting like you're drinking Sprite. You know what I'm saying? Some people have some problems in living, let's call it. I knew someone like that, and go to work. And they're like, I'm drinking some Coke. And everybody at work's like, bet you are. It's brown like Coke, right? Crown Royal is brown like Coke. All right. But in a technical sense, that's a highball, I guess, or a cocktail. Clubhouse would be even more questionable. Why would somebody buy that? I don't know. You can make a cocktail and it would just taste like strangeness. But it is the winner in this case because you're saving $2 a liter. You're like Philip, you're kind of like Philip Green in Casino. This whiskey, alleged whiskey, let's call it, $6.99 a liter. You're like Philip Green in Casino. You didn't know much. You don't know much. You don't want to know much. You think you got the loan because you're smart. You know what I mean? So you have absolutely no expectations of any sort of appropriate quality. So you buy it and you drink it. And so you know what I'm saying? Your threshold is so low that you can't be disappointed because you didn't have any expectations to start with. And I think that's what these are designed for. That's enough of that. So now, Clubhouse is a winner by default, not by actual, it didn't really earn it. So we're finished with American blended whiskey for now. People are saying, thank you, Lord. Sorry for that. That's an offhand comment. I apologize. But the next Dawn Busters, which I guess will be Saturday, we're going to do Canadian blended whiskey. I got the Northern Lights, and there's an example of when you shoot low, but you hit a great target. Didn't spend much at all for that. And that is a real winner. I said, wow, if only the world knew about the Northern Lights. There's a handful of videos on YouTube. They're mostly just drinking, getting drunk videos. They're not really worth watching. I did an actual review. You know what I'm saying? A serious review. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that's what I did. The other ones are like, hey, dudes, drink Northern Lights, that kind of stuff. But I think the Northern Lights is going to really perform in the Canadian Taste Challenge. It's going to be battling and winning. I think it's going to win most of them. It's going to beat Heir to the Throne. It's going to beat Gibson's. And then when it comes to Canadian Hunter and Canadian Limited and Rich and Rare Reserve, it's going to be a real battle. I mean, a real taste challenge. Now, it's going to beat Black Velvet because that's really not that good. It's going to beat Black Velvet Reserve, which is, I know, age 8 years, but what did you get after 8 years? Not much. To me, that's my opinion. So I think it's going to be a very fascinating journey through those taste challenges. The Northern Lights, introduced 1968. Then we'll be into Scotch after that. Do I have an exciting Scotch coming up? No, not really. I have John Barr, which is sort of ordinary, but I got such a great deal, I couldn't pass it up. To me, I couldn't pass it up. Just like the Appleton Estate rum. Is it a world-class rum? No, not the base model. It's just, flagship rums. Okay, I guess. But for $9.99, half price, yeah, no way I was passing on that. Nuh-uh. So I'm very excited about the Canadian blended whiskey taste challenges coming up. I'm never really excited about American blended whiskey because there's nothing exciting about it unless you're talking about Seagram 7 Crown, and that's not even exciting. It's just good. It's only exciting relative to the other dreck that you're dealing with. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but we have to face facts. I mean, honesty is important with this. George, Gergelli. Merry Christmas, Ron. Merry Christmas to you. Joe Biden says, technology, theocracy theory, interesting. I like to talk about all that. Good. Okay. Very nice. Maxwell, I love the Christmas trees. Don't drink the liquor at any resort in the Caribbean. Who knows what the locals refilled that bottle of Crown Royal with? Yes, apparently this is a very common practice. I know a fellow beer reviewer who doesn't really produce much content, but he's from New York City. He works in Manhattan and in Queens, and he says a lot of the places he works at are associated with organized crime. He said they're very crooked. Like, it's expensive restaurants. He said they pay a fortune to go to these restaurants. He said they do so many unethical things, like they'll take mayonnaise, like they'll have mayonnaise in a container. Like what do you call it? A ceramic container, and they'll put it on the table, cloth. People will use it. He said they'll take it back in the kitchen and reuse it. Like, they'll take it all out, put it back in, and reuse it the next night. I said, well, that's totally unsanitary and unethical. He said they do all kind of stuff like that. He said they take liquor and they always put inferior liquor. Like, it's never what you think it is. Like, if you say, I want a Jim Beam and Coke, you're going to get Beam's 8-star, which is half the price, and it's 80% grain spirits. The Jack Daniels, he said, never Jack Daniels. The Crown Royal is never Crown Royal. He said, this is in America. So I'll talk about India's ethics. Well, you know, America, sometimes we have that too. He said, it's such a sham, you know, and like you're saying, these Caribbean resorts, I can believe that. Now, I know a guy that's a heavy drinker, let's call it, but he says he had a taste for Jack Daniels just because it's so distinct. The flavor is so distinct. So when he would go to restaurants, he said he could always tell if somebody was trying to sham him. You know what I'm saying? Scam or sham him. He'd say, wait a minute, you said this is Jack Daniels. This is not Jack Daniels, man. You know, he could pick up on that, you know, that real strong sourdough, bagel, corn, heavy corn. You know that Jack Daniels, it always tastes distinct. He would get mad. He said, if you go to New Orleans, the French Quarter, any tourist area of New Orleans, the French Quarter, Canal Street, and you order mixed drinks or shots, he said, believe me, it's never what they say it is. This is a guy, he said he worked in the bartending industry for like 10 years. He said, look, he's from Greece. He's a Greek. He said, look, I promise you, if you're drinking Crown Royal in the French Quarter, you're paying extraordinary prices, and it's never going to be Crown Royal. It's going to be some cheap Canadian whiskey like Clubhouse, something like that. He said it's a total ripoff. And I believe that. People go down there and they buy all these daiquiris. They're paying $9, $10 for daiquiris made with the cheapest liquor possible. And they come to New Orleans. That's what they come to New Orleans for. Literally, to go walk up and down 3 blocks of Bourbon Street and drink exorbitantly priced styrofoam cups of the cheapest liquor available mixed with snow cone or snowball ingredients. And they're having a great time. I'm like, what is all of this? Why would you do that? Why would you come to New Orleans for that? And this is what they do. And I don't know, I can't get over it. Anyway, enough of that. I could just go on and on about value and people getting ripped off. I mean, it's incredible. It's crazy. But I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be part of that. I don't want it. They got seafood restaurants in the French Quarter. You pay exorbitant prices. The portions are small. But if you go to the suburbs where there's no tourists, they can't get away with that. They would be out of business in a month. You pay half the price, or well, let's say you pay 65 to 70% of the price. So you're getting 30 to 35% discount. You get way more food. It's just, you know, it's a tourist trap. You know, tourist traps are everywhere. And if you want to be part of that, go ahead. I don't want to be part of it. I'm sorry. I hear people, I got to stop. I was going to start talking about Disney World. I got to stop. All right. Anyway, this was just an exploration and blah, right? Blah, but strange versus blah and not strange, just straight up bland. All right. Anyway, enough of that. I'm telling you what you already know, or you should know. You know what I mean? Either you know what I'm talking about, or you should know what I'm talking about. Thank you very much.